Is it hard for you to acknowledge your positive qualities or to celebrate your achievements? Or maybe it's hard for you to acknowledge the positive things that are happening for you and your focus is only on the negative. So, cognitive distortions are patterns of thinking that most of us have at one point or another that are distorted. They're not true. They're ways that they're lenses through which we view the world, and they impact our experience, they impact our feelings, they impact our future behavior. So, identifying these distortions and then being able to label a thought can give you some distance from it so you can think more clearly. And discounting the positive is dismissing or minimizing anything positive, a positive skill you have, a positive achievement, a positive experience. And this is not just about what we say that might be societally acceptable. This is really about what we feel and our approach to something. So if somebody compliments you on an achievement and you're like, oh, no big deal, anybody could have done it, but you're primarily doing that because you think you sound nicer or it's more societally acceptable. And I'm not saying that's a good thing because I think sometimes owning our successes is very important. But this is really about when you feel that. You feel no big deal. Anybody could have done it. Nothing special about me. So you're ignoring the positive signals that are coming to you from the environment rather than taking those in so you can feel better about yourself and the world. Some other very common ways people discount the positive could be that they take an exam, a really hard exam, they get an 85, and they are just focused on the fact that they didn't do better. And again, anybody could have gotten that 85. I blew it. Or they receive a compliment from somebody and they think, they're only complimenting me because they want to seem nice. They don't really mean it. Or it could be related to an experience. You go out to dinner, almost everything is great, but the waiter is rude at one point, and then that's all you can focus on. So that one brings in the cognitive distortion of the mental filter, focusing on the negative, but it's also dismissing all the other positive events of the evening. So that's what it is. The biggest problem with this is that it reinforces our sense of inadequacy. So we might do this from a place of feeling inadequate, but by doing this, we are reinforcing that feeling. We are reinforcing low self-esteem. If you've seen my other videos, you know these things work as a pattern and a cycle, and they tend to reinforce themselves if we are unable to change the pattern, challenge the thinking. So here are 6 steps to break this pattern. Step 1 is to recognize the pattern. Now, some of you may already be doing this step. You may know when you do this, and you might be very keenly aware of it. But I think most people aren't super aware of it until they really begin to think about it. So you could journal at the end of the day, like, did you receive a compliment or did you achieve something? How did you not just react externally, like what you said, but how did you feel? Did you discount that achievement? Did you downplay the compliment? So increasing your awareness of your thoughts by recognizing the pattern, right? We're looking for the pattern of discounting the positive. Seeing these things as patterns that have developed over time, habits of the mind, can really help you step back from your thoughts so you can begin to see things more clearly and defuse from your thoughts, right? The concept of cognitive diffusion versus fusion, being in them totally. So that's the acknowledging piece and the recognizing the pattern. Step 2 is to challenge the pattern, challenge the thought. When you become aware that you are doing that, ask yourself, is there evidence for this? When you say, oh, anybody could have achieved it, well, probably not true. You can also question some of the assumptions that are underneath that discounting. For example, getting the 85 on the exam and not getting the 95 that you wanted. Maybe not many people got the 95. Maybe those people who got the 95 are not also holding down a job like you might be, or taking care of kids, or dealing with other struggles, right? And you can also think about the values reflected in your judgment of yourself. If you're discounting how well you did at something, maybe you don't value that as highly as you value something else. Maybe you value your relationships more or being able to have time for self care. It's okay to have different values. So, acting in line with our values actually makes us a lot happier. So, I'm trying to just give you ideas about how to question the assumptions and thoughts and the evidence that's behind your discounting of the positive. Step 3, identify the negative core beliefs that are underneath your discounting of the positive. Because I would bet that there is a theme. There's a theme that goes with the discounting the positive. In the examples that I used, it could be a theme of I'm not good enough. It could be a theme of I'm lazy. It could be a theme of I'm unlucky. Again, these themes and these patterns get deeply ingrained in our brain until we sort of begin to like peel them out and look at them. Like, look at this strand of thought and how is it related to all these other thoughts? And our negative core beliefs are really underneath most of our thinking errors and a lot of our unhappiness. And none of this is to say that we don't have real problems. There are problems of homelessness, not having a job, violent neighborhoods, right? There's a lot of real problems in the world. Loved ones with serious illnesses, addictions, etc. So none of the cognitive behavioral techniques should be minimizing your problems, but they are techniques to help you not add additional problems about how you feel about yourself on top of all the other very real, very human existence type problems. All right. Let me know if that made sense. I'd like to help people not add the problem of feeling badly about themselves on top of everything else. So, in line with that, I do have a free PDF, Transform Your Negative Core Beliefs. It helps you identify what that core belief is that really has followed you throughout life. And then it gives you a handful of techniques to practice to overturn it. But that core belief is probably under the discounting the positive. Step 4 is to begin to practice reframing the narrative. So when complimented on an achievement, instead of, oh, anybody could have done it, reframe it. You know, I worked really hard for that. I put a lot of effort into that. I feel really good about that achievement too. And there's an element with this technique of acting as if. So beginning to say these things to yourself and others, even if you don't really feel it, like I'm not asking you to lie, I'm just asking you to reframe it and accept that your way of thinking might not be accurate. And what would be an alternative response? Step 5 is to celebrate small wins. At the end of every day, jot down what went right today. What did I do well today? And it could be very small things, but celebrate them, begin to acknowledge them. And if you want to do this privately, because a lot of people hesitate to like do this externally, although that would be good if you have somebody to do it with, that's wonderful. If you have a friend or partner who has the same problem, you can do it with each other. But if you don't have that, doing it for yourself, just begin to practice celebrating small wins. And then step 6, and this might be hard for a number of people, but it is to seek external perspective. You can seek external validation, obviously, for the positive, but even just to get somebody's perspective. So if you receive a compliment that your immediate response is, I don't deserve this, you could get a little more perspective from them. You could ask a few questions, right? Begin to take in the positives from the people around you. And then the other way to get some external perspective on this is with a therapist or a coach or some type of support group can be super helpful. So if you set yourself a goal and a plan to practice these 6 steps every day for 30 days, I think you will make a lot of progress, and I'd love to know. Comment below. And if there's something else that you do that helps you with this cognitive distortion, let me know and share it with the community. And if you know someone who could benefit from this video, please share it with them. Hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.